All right, my friend, so the time has come for our final paper, which is a research paper. And I think you're going to surprise yourself as to just how ready you feel to go forth and conquer. So, with that being said, let's get into it. So, here in our module, we have this page here that I've created, which contains the particularities for the research paper. So, go ahead and click that. And the first thing you'll see is the prompt. So let's get into that. And also, please be so kind as to open this document, which says things to consider. All right. Oh, that's the things to consider. This is the prompt here. Very cool. All right. Excuse me a moment. All right. So, believe it or not, all of those current events that we did throughout this term has been for a reason. There's been a method behind my madness there. And that is because it's given you an opportunity to really see things around the world that are of interest to you. Current events, right? And the thing is that each of us are different and we have very distinct proclivities, and which is why you chose your particular topics for current events. So hopefully you took note of what you were interested in, because this is going to be the time to put that into play so that you can have a topic that you care about and that you have fun with. So here's the assignment. The last one, last paper, and it is propose a solution to an issue/problem. So here we go. Throughout the span of time, humankind has had to continually seek out solutions to issues at hand. For example, the telephone was invented to facilitate a streamlined method of communication across vast distances. The microwave was brought forth as a tool for quickly heating up meals, etc. Our species has always had to adapt solutions to issues as they arise, from serious issues to lighter ones. We as a people have managed to move forward through ingenious invention and collaboration. This assignment is an opportunity for you to put your own foot forward by offering your own solution to an issue/problem. What makes this project research is the fact that you're required to draw from a minimum of 4 secondary sources to introduce your explored issue and support your proposed solution. So, for example, if I was arguing for the importance of switching over to an electric car, I would draw from my secondary sources to frame the environmental harm caused by fossil fuels. I would then use my research to explain how oil is the most consumed form of fossil fuel for energy conversion. I would then move to forward the fact that our planet has a limited fossil fuel reserve. Thanks to my front-loading the reader with the context behind my chosen issue, I would then draw from my research to support my argument for switching over to an electric car. So, as I was mentioning with our current events, it's not a perfect world, and throughout different areas we see issues arising. So, this is going to be an opportunity to select one issue that you care about. Whether that is something pertaining to our current time of our pandemic, or something you see sociologically happening, or maybe you live in a neighborhood where, oh no, for the 5th time in 2 months, your car was broken into. So then for you, the issue of security is a big deal, of neighborhood security. Or maybe you recently, it can be big, it can be small. Maybe recently you just took a trip to your local park, let's say. And as you were out jogging on the track at your park, you noticed a soda can there, a plastic bottle there, a plastic bag there, and like, oh no, it's so littered. So if the issue is, your particular park and it's getting more and more littered, then that's what you care about. The point is to choose an issue that you care about. Maybe another one is the fact that, you have spent way more time in front of screens than you would like, and you're starting to feel your brain start to turn into mush, and your eyes are hurting, and you're sleeping super duper late, and you're like, oh no, this is an issue. I'm spending too much time in front of screens. Maybe you're starting to feel addicted and dependent, and you're not exercising. Maybe that's the issue, and you're not seeing it only in yourself, but you're seeing it also in your younger brother and your younger sister, and your cousin too. So it's like everyone's hooked on screens. So that's the thing. Choose an issue that you care about. That is really the trick for this to be fun. Then what you have to do is you work backwards, okay? You think, okay, this is an issue. And actually, let me show you here. This is the document that says things to consider. So, you choose your issue about something you care about, and then think of the context behind it. Context just means background. So what's the history or background that led to the development of this issue? So, issues don't just arise magically. There's a history behind them. There's a context that informs them. So how did that issue come to be? And that's where the research comes in. Why is this a significant issue? If this issue is left unchecked, what possible negative outcomes might be brought on in the future? So the whole point is like, okay, here's my issue. Here's the history that led to it to arise. Like, how did it happen? And then, here's why it's a big deal. Like for example, in the prompt, I gave the example of huge dependence on fossil fuel vehicles and continually utilizing gasoline, and thus creating this greenhouse effect. And it's a big deal because it leads to global warming, and because we all live here and we're all affected, and so are all the animals and species here on Earth, right? It's a big deal because of that, yeah? So you got to be able to answer this for yourself. And not only that, but use your sources to help you answer these things. And it's an investigation, and you're a detective. View it that way. And then also, you're going to think, okay, what possible solution could you propose to help with this issue? See, that's the thing. When we say solution, I'm not asking you to reinvent the wheel or to completely fix it 100%. Just if you can suggest something that would help, to mitigate those negative outcomes of the issue, then if something helps, then hey, that's a solution. That's a step in the right direction. So remember that you don't have to, completely fix everything. Just if it's something that helps, then cool. So think of this: why will your solution work? Why is it better than others? What might those opposing your solution say against it? What would it take to enact your solution? Why is it viable? So, viability is a big one because it's connected to what would it take to enact your solution. So, when we think of costs, we instantly think of just money, right? But no, a cost is just what does it take to make something happen? What is the price of it? Like, maybe you're having maybe your solution for the issue of total dependence on fossil fuels is to create this specialized engine that runs on a very rare earth or mineral ore that is found in only one place on Earth. So because of how rare it is, it's not exactly very viable, right? So you got to consider the viability of it. Like, don't make it such a huge pipe dream that it's not too viable. But yeah, so try to consider that. All right, so let's return to the prompt here. So when we last left off, we finished at the first page here. So this is repeating to what we just looked at with the things to consider page. So here's some things to consider. What's the issue or problem that you're moving to solve? So this is the issue part. This is the solution part. Why is it an issue? Who does it affect? What's the big deal? So what? What's at stake? So throughout our class, we've been continually thinking about implications, right? The so what. You got to be able to answer the so what question. Here's why it's a big deal. You got to be able to answer that. And that's where your research will come in. It'll help to inform your knowledge with this, and it'll help you to answer these questions. And with this solutions, here's what we read. the other page didn't have this one, but do your solution's pros outweigh any cons that it may involve? So could it be that your solution will have secondary effects, and are those secondary effects minimal when compared with all of the benefits that we would gain from your solution? How would your proposed solution make the world a better place? So ultimately, this is an assignment of altruism. It's an assignment of wanting to take a constructive step forward. Okay, so in terms of format requirements, just like you've been doing, we have MLA citation, we have 1-inch margins all around, just as usual. So we don't want like an epic poem like Beowulf where it's so narrow. Font as usual, Times New Roman or Arial, 12 point, double space, and absolutely we need a works cited page, just like we've learned this term, for the sources that we'll use, which in this case it'll be at least 4. So the magical number is 4 here. You're going to write at least 4 pages, double space, and you're going to have at least 4 outside sources. At least 2 of these should come from the Chafee database, which we're going to be learning how to use with our librarian research workshop, and the video is already in our module, so check that out. And the essay itself is worth 125. Peer review workshop is what we've been doing, that's 20. And correct MLA and works cited is 5. It's total 150. So do the assignment. It's the last thing that we're doing. And here are the deadlines that you need to know. The library and research workshops here, the outline deadline. So because we are going to have an outline, and stay tuned for more info on that. And the workshop. And the final draft is due on our final meeting. So do pay attention to that. And here is the grading criteria. So does the essay have a clear purpose and direction, including a thesis statement with a clear and arguable solution? So obviously it should be evident what the issue is that you're selecting and what it is that you're proposing. If you'll recall, a thesis has the parts of identification of the topic, right? Claim, which is what you're saying about the topic, and then direction, right? Your main reasons or examples that support your claim, right? And you got to have the solution, because that's the prompt for this. Does the essay include a description of the problem, so the issue being considered? Does it offer a clear solution? We're using research and evidence, paying attention, specific attention to audience. So that's a big one, using research and evidence, because it shouldn't just be off the dome. Like, of course, it should be your voice that is guiding it, first and foremost, but because it's a research paper, you do need to use sources to use those as your background there to bolster your claims, okay? Follow standard mechanics like we've been learning. Works cited page, MLA. So listen, believe it or not, we've been doing this all term with our current events. I don't know if you realized it, but there you were working with the source, and there the fact that it was your voice that was primarily weaving the whole write-up, that's what we want here when you bring in a source, okay, and with correct in-text citation. So you've been doing it all along, and even with some of the other essays that we looked at, even though it wasn't compulsorily research, but because you brought in other sources, I don't know if you knew, but you were doing research. So surprise, surprise, you're ready, my friends. You're ready. So let's actually return to our canvas here. Okay, so here we have some student sample essays, and so go ahead and take a look at those. It's always helpful to look at a model, right? This one's about homelessness, and here's the thing: your thesis, like I said in your intro, you got to present the topic. You got to make it clear, what the issue is, what the solution is. Here's why this is important. You got to say all that in here, okay? So make that clear. So this is about the issue of homelessness, and the person's giving a proposal here for an issue, for something to help. Let's see. So this one, they wanted to shift help for homeless people from the private sector to the public sector. So that's what they were proposing. All right. So that's that one. That one is the issue of homelessness. The second one is climate change. And the last sample, let's take a look at that. This is an interesting one. This one pertained to how, I don't know if you ever realized this, but during the daytime hours when the cartoons are on, and what kind of commercials do you see? So we see cereal commercials, we see chips, we see sodas, we see candies, we see, Hostess Twinkies. We see all these things that just lead to obesity and diabetes and hypertension and poor health. And the way that they're presented, the way they're marketed is very cartoony, right? There's these fun cartoons, there's these songs, there are these colors. Like all the kids' cereals are so attractive because of the cartoon characters and colors, and the same thing goes for the candy. And so this is an interesting one. This was looking at that, and this person was looking at, they were saying that, hey, there should be some type of law or regulation that prohibits corporate companies to be allowed to advertise at the degree that they're doing towards kids, making it so cartoony. So what you have to do especially is make it clear why your issue is a big deal. Don't just say, this is the issue, but no, say why it's a big deal. Make it clear. Answer the so what question. That's the implications, right? And make it clear what it is that you're proposing, okay? So have all that. So that's what we have there. We have the sample essay, so do take a look at those. And okay, that is it for this one. Let's tune in to the next video, which is going to be on the outline. All right, see you in the next video.